reading words on paper.
You could be the best lawyer in the world. If you don't have clients, you're a broke lawyer.
Yeah. We need to be better advocates for ourselves,
So oil isn't going anywhere.
No.
Not anytime soon.
No, period.
Hey, this is Chaz Roberts. I'm a personal injury lawyer. It's my passion to bring the law to the people, and that's the purpose of this podcast. You're listening to Law Have Mercy.
Dude, do you want to spice up?
You are listening to Law Have Mercy.
Sometimes I wonder if I could still play the flute. Give it a whirl.
Are we rolling yet?
We are.
Okay, cool. So, we've been practicing law, 14 years?
Yes.
Okay, so law school's 3 years, so that means that I met you, 17 years ago?
Yes, 17 years ago.
And we had the shittiest apartment in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And I walk to the laundromat, and that's when I first met you.
Yes.
And you were...
Raging,
screaming expletives in a phone.
I was violently doing laundry.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then I said, for some reason, I thought it'd be cool to invite you to...
Yeah, you were trying to. I was telling my friend that I hated my apartment. I hated law school. I hated the people in law school. I was like, this is stupid. And I was just throwing my clothes into the dryer. And you were just patiently waiting for a dryer, like this girl. And then I hang up the phone and you said, my section's not that bad. I was like, doubt it. I bet they are.
And I guess we were in different sections. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I was in section 2.
Yeah, I was in section 3.
Yeah.
Scott was in section 2.
Yeah, with Bradley, who forgot I was in his section, which I will never let him forget.
2 of my homies, closest people to me, were in your section, and you thought your section sucks.
I did. Sorry. Apologies not to Bradley. I still have a vendetta because he didn't remember that we were in the section together.
And yet you've been on a trivia team with him for a while.
Yeah, we are pretty much undefeated.
Yeah? When do y'all do trivia?
We do it Wednesdays. We like the curbside trivia.
Okay, curbside is a...
It's a burger place in Baton Rouge.
Okay. And is there prizes?
Yes, you win gift cards.
Gift cards. And you guys are undefeated?
Well, I mean, okay. Kind of.
I mean, damn near. Close enough?
We win a lot of gift cards.
Yeah.
He does a interesting little section off. He sections people on their rankings. And so we're always first in wherever we're grouped or ranked.
And what's your specialty? What's your thing that you knock out the park?
Oh, so I'm really good at pop culture, literature. I think I'm a good guesser. I don't have.
Is it a multiple choice?
No.
No.
It's just.
And you just guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I really rocked it the last time.
Yeah.
Ask Chase and Bradley.
What's your? Can you remember the thing that you completely pulled out your ass, that a certain question that you just nailed?
Yeah. So it was. It said what cartoon. It was these cartoon characters went to Westbrook school. So it was something like that, and I was like, what comic character? I was like, well, the only little kids I know are the Peanut kids. It had to have been them. It was just stuff like that. I'm like, I don't.
And you nailed it.
Yeah.
It was Peanuts.
Yeah, Bradley wanted to do Calvin and Hobbes. I was like, nope. I was like, Calvin just talked to Hobbes. I was like, so there's no way that there would have been a whole subsection about school. So it has to be Peanuts.
And I guess Bradley probably nails sports.
Yeah, Bradley and Chase
Music.
get sports and geography, and Bradley's really good at guessing the closest to a year thing.
Yeah, he blows me away with some of his sports trivia.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I know sports. This dude knows sports.
Yeah. Him and Chase, they got that on lock.
Chase just knows everything.
Well, okay. Pump the brakes there. Not everything.
And he knows a lot about a lot.
Yes. I might know more. So.
We'd be when we lived together, Chase would just go hide in his room, and he would be looking up stuff on Wikipedia. I was like,
Yeah.
and he'd come out, hey, did y'all know this? And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm watching Sports Center right here. And I knew, I was like, okay, he's on a different level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But back to that apartment complex, Highland Plantation.
Yes.
I had an old Mercedes, right? And it was a 99 CLK. And I was the dude that thought he got a steal of a deal when he bought it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize at the time that imports are cheap on the secondary market because they are very expensive to repair.
Yeah.
And it was out of warranty and all that stuff. So I go down to my nice little car one day, and I had no hood ornament on the front. Somebody just ripped out the Mercedes emblem. And I'm in law school, broker than a joke, obviously living in this shit apartment. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, where is my hood ornament? I started looking around the car, and somebody just ripped it off. I couldn't believe that. Yeah. And I was like, how am I going to replace it? I started looking it up. It's like $500-600. I was like, well, guess I'm riding around a Mercedes with no hood ornament for a while.
Yeah, someone was going to make their own Mercedes.
Yeah. Do you remember who lived in the apartment complex with us? That's a trivia question.
Someone from our law school, or
Well,
someone?
we had people in our law school that lived with us, but
Was it like a football player that I wouldn't know?
yes. The consensus biggest draft bust of all time, Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was downstairs from me, and I show up one day, and I had seen Jamarcus around. I mean, he was like 6'6", 260 pounds, huge guy. And so LSU made a run. They make it to the Sugar Bowl. He plays outstanding. And then all of a sudden they start talking about him being a number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. And the hype just starts building. So I start seeing him. And then one day I come home, and there's an Escalade with 24-inch rims and 6 people around it dancing with loud music. And that was when he signed his contract with his agent before he was drafted. And I did what any self-respecting guy would do. I run upstairs, grab an LSU helmet, and go up there, knock on his door, and ask him to autograph. And he was like, there's a grown man over here asking for an autograph. And he signed it. He was very gracious. He signed it. I still have it somewhere. I still have it somewhere.
And those were before they capped the rookie contracts, and so they were just paying exuberant amount of money to young college kids. And like, if you were going to be the number 1 overall pick, you could sign that contract before the draft. So
Correct.
he was probably rolling.
He was no question number 1 overall pick. So he signed. You'll have to look it up, but I think he signed like a $60 million contract. And lived at Highland Plantation with Chaz and Andrea.
Yeah. Did your car ever get towed from there? They towed my car twice.
Really?
Yeah, from my own home.
Did we had to have stickers or something?
I just would fall off or whatever.
I couldn't wait to get out of that place. But
it was awful.
In theory, it was good because it was a good location, not far from law school.
Yeah.
So,
$68 million contract with $31.5 million guaranteed.
$31 million guaranteed.
And y'all are telling me he does not play because I don't know who this person is.
No,
Maybe
he was a bust.
Oh, okay.
So he performed really bad.
Got it.
And then he was out of a job. But he still made his guaranteed $31 million contract.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah, we don't do that in our line of work. We don't sign guaranteed contracts.
No, I don't have any guaranteed money coming in.
So you do primarily oil and gas work?
Yes, oil and gas transactional work.
Okay, and that means you don't go in the courtroom?
Correct. Yeah, I was telling you before I got here, I was like, gosh, I don't know how to make what I do sound sexy because it's reading words on paper. But yes, I guess when people think of attorneys, they think of, the Law and Orders of the world and the, Perry Masons. Perry Masons, what am I, 90? He's making a comeback on.
It's making a comeback. I tried to watch 5 minutes of it and I turned it off.
Yeah, me too. It wasn't what it was supposed to be.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so transactional, essentially, I do contract negotiations, lease negotiations, acquisitions, primarily title examination. So I represent operators of natural gas wells. So I tell them, who owns their minerals, that they took a lease from the right parties, if they're not the original lessee, that they acquired the lease from the correct parties. So long story short, I tell them who owns minerals and who to pay when those wells start producing.
So do we get you involved before we start the process of drilling for oil?
Ideally, yes. I mean, in a perfect world, yes. In a perfect world, I always say that what I do, it's like a little triangle. It's the attorneys, it's our clients, the operators, and then we have the brokers, the abstractors. And those are the people that are on the ground taking leases. And so, in a perfect world, we would have the title already and I could tell them who to take the correct lease from, but it's not a perfect world. And when things are blowing and going and people are, fighting for land for the operatorship, you want to get out there and lease as much as possible. So, they kind of do what they can from the tax records and the tax assessor's records and go out and lease who they think owns it to the best of their abilities. And then we get the title and we look at it and say, yes, that is the right person to lease, or, ooh, yeah, that's the right person, but there's all of this junk in the back that means that someone else could perhaps claim this land as well. So we want to fix all that up. So if there is a ownership challenge, then my client would prevail.
Okay, so let's take a step back. You're in Lafayette. You're a junior in high school. You're in the band, and you say, I want to be a lawyer one day.
Yeah.
I want to be a lawyer one day. Did you ever think that you would be doing this type of work?
No, I didn't. And it's so funny. People always ask me, like, well, why'd you want to? Just yesterday, a nurse asked me, well, what made you become a lawyer? I was like, I don't know, necessity. My undergrad was psychology. Like, I wasn't going to make any dollars doing that.
So you didn't know you wanted to go to law school till you were in college?
No. Well, I didn't even know then. I applied for split programs. I did a PhD program applications. I did law school applications, and just kind of, it was random. And then, and people ask me now, well, how did you become a oil and gas attorney? I said, well, it's literally what the law firm hired me to do. That was their practice area. I didn't take mineral law in law school. I did, my law, we pick from a lot of different buckets. It's not just, well, I think every law, I shouldn't say my law. Every law picks from different buckets, but we have when we're examining a title, we have to do the successions and the contracts and the leasing and the MAT regimes and all this stuff. And I did
MAT regimes. What is that?
It's just, Louisiana's a community property state. So it's essentially the law of community property that
so the divorce, the things that happen with the divorce and ownership of the land.
Yeah. So community property means that during the marriage, anything that's acquired with the effort, skill, or industry is owned 50-50 by the two spouses.
So if you're listening to this podcast out there and you were married and you acquired some land and there may be some oral action going on there, you may want to look into that.
Yes. And not just oil. Look, there was a case in law school, I don't know if you remember this, that the civil code says effort, skill, or industry, and it was this guy, he bought a lottery ticket and he scratched off and won millions. And he's like, I bought it. That's my separate property. And the court said, no, the effort of scratching it off occurred during your marriage. So it was community property and he had to split it in his divorce.
Wow.
So, yeah.
The effort of scratching a lottery ticket.
Yeah. So if you think you're going to be a millionaire and you don't want to split it with your wife, enter into a separate property regime before your marriage.
And that's what we call a prenup, right?
Yes.
Well, we don't call that. Most states call it a prenup.
Yeah.
So you have to know a little bit about a lot of different areas of law. Even though you're doing oil and gas work, you have to know about successions, which means what happens when you die, who gets the land. You have to know about divorce. Mm-hmm. And when you read these things, is it like when you read some of these divorce decrees and what went on, is it like watching a good Netflix show?
Yeah, it's
you just have to use your imagination a little bit more.
Yeah, the succession proceedings and the divorce proceedings is just it's just a wild ride. I mean, this is what brings me joy and this is what thrills me in a title examination. Not the thrill of the courtroom.
You really should get out more.
I know. But I was just I was reading a divorce proceeding yesterday and they were dividing their assets and it was the woman and she got one nightstand, like Mackenzie's rug and 2 trees. She was like, "F you, the trees are coming with me."
and some lawyer, they paid like $1,000 for 2 lawyers to fight over those damn 2 trees too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the craziest thing about divorce. What people will pay lawyers to fight over.
Yeah.
It's all about principle, right?
Yeah, and then people get real petty in the testate successions, just disavowing their children. Like, they didn't help me, so they get nothing. Like, that's just the worst. You're like, you go to sit down, you're like, my dad loved me, and then it's like, no, he didn't. He did not.
Well, look, I mean, I don't mean to be presumptuous, but you're a woman in what I would think would be a male-dominated field.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yes.
Yeah. Do you have the statistics of how many women are doing what you're doing?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, not hard numbers, but I do.
I'm going to hold you to them now.
Yeah, no, don't fact check me. Put a little banner down
Get that
there.
Google machine ready.
Yeah. Oh God, pressure's on. So I give a presentation. Well, I've given it twice now. Diversity in the energy industry. Just talking about female representation in the industry, and overall, I think we make up it's less than a quarter. Maybe it's 21%, and that's over the entire. I shouldn't say entire, for the oil and gas industry.
Of the industry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, and then if you go higher up, it drops down. That's overall, entry level positions. But as you move up to the C-suite stuff, CFO, CEO, the senior vice presidents, whatnot, it drops to like 7%. So.
Wow. So you are one of very few.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you look here, it says in the United States, women made up just a quarter
Yeah.
of the total energy workforce as of 2020. This is according to catalyst.org.
All right, fact check success.
Thank you, sir. That was Johnny on the spot. I've seen your LinkedIn. Very impressive.
Thank you.
You're always giving presentations, doing things. So you get into an area where you think you're going to do nice transactional work. You won't have to be in court. You won't
Yes.
have to be in front of a judge and a jury. And then now you find yourself in transactional work and you're giving presentations.
Right. Yeah.
Help me out there.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive. Yeah, I didn't. I don't. When I was in law school, I think I was. What was that trial ad?
Yeah.
That did a number on me. Whoever, I don't even remember the judge that I had, and I pretty much was like, well, she put me in my place. Like, this is not for me.
It's not for you.
I guess I should make a career change. But and I was really fortunate that the firm that hired me, that's just what they did, and I was like, fantastic. And they did try to get me to go to court. Well, they didn't try. I went to court one time. It was to quiet titles. It was at a tax sale. So if you purchase property at tax sale, the original person, the tax debtor, they have 3 years to, we call it redeem, to buy back their property for the taxes and penalties. And after 3 years, the person who purchased it at tax sale can clear their title to be deemed the true owner of the land. And it's a step-by-step thing. It's like a checklist. You just go in, you say A, B, C, D, and they're like, it's going to be fine. Like, don't worry about it. And I went in, and it was not fine. It did not go well. And I was just in the elevator, and some attorney's like, you're going to be okay. I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I am.
This is on the way up or on the way down?
All the way down.
On the
This
way
was
down.
after. This was the aftermath. And I went back in there, and I was like, you're not sending me back. I'm not going. Nice try. Not doing it. And then
I think a lot of people just from movies assume that all lawyers are in court,
yes. Yeah.
and that's just a small percentage.
Yeah, I mean,
of it.
I didn't know transactional law was a thing when I joined. When I went to law school. I mean, it's a small portion of it. I mean, the majority of law is litigated, stuff. It's the real estate transactional side. It's land ownership side is the transactional stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a. I was asked to give a presentation, and it's one of those things where someone asks you can't say no. And the thing that they also don't teach about in law school is, keeping client development and getting your name out there. It's one thing to practice law. It's one thing to keep the clients in the business that you have and to get new business. And the way to do that is to get out there and present yourself to people and become an expert in your field. And so being given the opportunity to give presentations and the fact that people, value what I have to say is very flattering, and I appreciate that. So it's anytime I'm asked, I can't say no to it. So
yeah, I echo that. So from my own experience, there is no instruction on how to get clients.
None.
And no one tells you that that's the lifeblood. Like that's the oxygen to the fire. And so you could be the best lawyer in the world. If you don't have clients, you're a broke lawyer.
yeah.
Contrast that with, you don't even have to be that good of a lawyer, but if you can get clients, you will have a very robust practice. So you constantly have to be out there, putting yourself out there. And sometimes there's just not enough time in the day. Right?
Yeah. I have 2 presentations out of state in the next 2 months, and it's time out of the office, and time is money. So the time is not billing. So it's like you're banking your future worth by doing that kind of stuff, and that's how I think of it. And
well, you're doing very well with it.
Thank you.
But the inbox doesn't stop.
No, no, it doesn't.
So when you get out there, you bring your laptop and you try to get some work done in between.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to be a woman in the oil and gas industry? What do you try to accomplish by, are you trying to inspire others to join you?
Yeah, I do. It's just kind of, we talk about these things. The word like unconscious bias, flips around, and this is not something that is exclusive to the way that men view women. It's the way that women view women. It is what it is. I remember one of the very first times I went to visit a client with my law partner who was older than me. I mean, he was the senior law partner at my firm. I'm in a suit. We are together presenting to a client, and I was holding the papers for whatever reason, and he would ask for something, I would hand it to him. And a year later, as I got to know my clients better, they're like, "Oh, we didn't even know you were a lawyer. We just called you paper girl. We thought you were his secretary." I was like, "Well, what? I mean, why? Why am I like defaulted to the secretary position when I'm here in front of you doing the work, doing the dress the part and being the part?" So it's just, I think it's true that women need to see people in higher up positions, to have that, to see that option's there, to see that, okay, if she succeeded, she moved up the ladder, moved up the ranks, I can too. So it's just, that's also something that keeps me motivated. Just, you need to be what you want people to see, I guess.
Do you have any advice for women that are interested, or girls that are interested in eventually getting to oil and gas industry?
Gosh, advice. Some of this is so cliched, but it's just, don't have confidence, know your self-worth, know that you walk into the room and own the room that you're walking into. Don't walk in like, oh, should I, what do they think of me? Or you're the lawyer, walk in and be the lawyer. Just be that.
If you could go back to that paper girl experience, right, what would you have done differently?
Oh gosh, I guess I wouldn't have been so, meek, maybe it's not the word, but meek. Just like, oh yeah, here's the paper. I would have been
more assertive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you learn with experience.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I can't imagine what you experienced, but just being a young associate working for a law firm, there's something about the tension within a room that you feel lesser than,
yes,
and then you take that passenger shotgun role and you just hand the paper. Even as a man, I experienced that. And then when I worked for myself, I was the same dude, same degree, same license. 2 months later, but I was on my own, and I was just more assertive, and I got more respect as a result.
Yeah.
I was the guy.
Yeah, there's a weird hierarchy that prevails in our industry. It's just, it's kind of a hazing. It's like, I was treated this way as an associate, so when I become a partner, I'm going to treat them that way too. And now that I am a partner, and now that I do have associates, I hope, I guess we could ask our associates, you can fact check that one, so call them up, see how I feel. But I try to, encourage them to, we're all attorneys. You know the law too. I'm not infallible. I'm not, the thing about talent examination is you don't have to know everything. You just have to know what you don't know. You have to be curious. And so I don't have the answer. So if you know that I'm wrong, you need to tell me I'm wrong. Like, don't, and I need to be, have an environment that allows for that, not to say like, I'm not gonna listen to you.
So being in the oil and gas industry, I read the news. Actually, no, I just scroll through clickbait articles.
Who doesn't?
The oil and gas industry is over. It's all going to be renewable energy and the green, I guess, wave coming. Mm-hmm. Do you worry about the oil and gas industry and having a job in the future?
No, I don't. I don't worry about it. I do think that, we need to be, as I say, we being the fossil fuel, operators and whatnot, we need to be better advocates for ourselves. I think that has to do a lot with the, historically who's represented us in the oil and gas industry. It's not fun. It's not new. It's not flashy. We're not TikTokable, and the renewable energy, which it is, solar, wind, does what it does, but they've kind of co-opted the space and made it clean energy, which in the inverse of that is that fossil fuels are dirty energy, even though it's, we're just kind of demonized in that area. But, you need both. I mean, there are pros and cons to anything. And to suggest that renewable is clean energy and doesn't have any, environmental ramifications it's not accurate. And it's also not currently in its current form sustainable. Like I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what 30 years is going to hold, but renewable is just what it sounds. I mean, it regenerates itself. Oil and gas is quote finite, but solar energy is generated by the sun. So when the sun's not shining, you're not getting solar energy. Wind energy is generated by the wind. When the wind's not blowing, you're not generating energy. So to suggest that can completely replace, we just don't have that infrastructure in place. We just don't, and people think that oil and natural gas and coal, for that matter, all it is gas in your car, but that's not true. There's an entire petrochemical industry that relies upon petroleum to create products that we rely upon, from medicine to tires to North Face jackets, even though North Face doesn't like us. I mean, we make the products. So, I don't, no, I don't. I just think we need to be better advocates for ourselves and better explain the benefits and why we still need fossil fuels. And
it seems like every couple of years we find more and more oil, that it's more abundant than we even thought it was. Yeah. I mean,
no one knew that the so I guess this get a little technical, but it's shale plays. There's the rock formations and there's where the whole boom in North Louisiana is the Haynesville shale boom that came about right when I graduated law school in 2008. No one had drilled that deep before. No one knew it was down there. And there are deeper formations below the Haynesville, the Tuscaloosa Marine Shale in South Louisiana. It's deeper than the Haynesville. Unfortunately, it's a very wet gas. It's hard to produce. It's hard to produce when gas prices are low. But people are working on producing it, and so the more technology we have, I'm sure the more we're going to be able to explore for, find, and produce even deeper levels of fossil fuels.
Is that where the majority of your work is, in the Haynesville shale?
Yes. Yeah, North Louisiana. Yeah, like Caddo, Bossier, DeSoto, Red River.
So oil isn't going anywhere?
No.
Not anytime soon?
No, period.
You were mentioning to me earlier about like just wind farms, how much land that actually takes up too. Yeah, but yes, people, the environmental aspect of it, we have drill sites. Our drilling pads are about an acre in size. And, compare that to the amount of acreage that takes up for a solar farm or for a wind farm. And if you lay your solar panels, nothing's growing there. If you have your wind turbines, those cast a huge shadow. You can't
farm below it. You can't, run cattle below it. You can do all of that on a oil and gas drilling prospect. And so I think that that's also overlooked, just the sheer amount of acreage that's taken out of commerce by renewable energy sources.
I was watching a TikTok with this guy. He was in the minor leagues, and he was trying to drive from Phoenix to East Texas. And it took him like a week to drive because he couldn't find stations to recharge his Tesla.
Yeah.
It's completely inefficient.
Yeah.
Right. So Teslas are good going fast in short periods of time, not long trips.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not a total expert on, but there's still issues with just storage of renewable energy. I mean, oil, you produce it, put in a barrel. Gas, you can't store. It has to go directly to a pipeline. But, you have to store, it has to be converted to electricity and stored in a battery. And, we don't have battery trees. I mean, the batteries have to be produced and mined from somewhere. So it's a cycle. And so I don't think it's as cut and dry as people want it to be. I think, one hand shakes the other, and I think there's room and need and necessity for both in the future. There has to be. I
don't watch the news that much. Can you explain to me what Keystone Pipeline is? Do you know anything about that?
I mean, it was a pipeline that I mentioned it just in passing. So that's how natural gas. You can't. I mean, not to get too technical, you can't store natural gas. And so, if once you frack and the gas is ready to produce, you have to put it directly into a pipeline. And if there isn't available pipeline, then you have to shut your well in, which just means you're not producing it. Oil, like I said, once it flows, you put it in the barrel, and that's that. So the Keystone Pipeline was just kind of freeing up space for natural gas and to transport it, I think it was across Canada into the United States. And it was shut down. And I think it was shut down during COVID, which was, I found it interesting that he was just, that our administration was going to turn off, the valve of existing paying jobs at a time where people were being forced to stay home. And this was an opportunity to, sustain our economy. So I thought it was an interesting choice.
I wish I could speak more on it. I really don't know much about it. All right, so one of the things that I always talk about, people may accuse me of getting on a soapbox, but I always talk about
soapboxes.
You do love so. So I always talk about uninsured motorist coverage, and I'm sure you follow my page and you see me talking about uninsured motorist coverage. Hopefully, you checked your policy.
I have it. I do.
You did.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. I'll try to get you to get as much uninsured motorist coverage as possible. Do you have any soapboxes that you always try to tell people from your experience you need to do X?
Yes, I do. Get a will, write it down. People, it keeps me in business, the fact that people don't have wills. So it's a double-edged sword for me, but it's, I think people have, we don't really accept death in our society. It scares people. I think when people plan for their death, it makes them nervous. And so it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like, oh my gosh, if I write a will, that's it. I'm going to get smoked in a car accident tomorrow. And people always say, well, I don't need one because my sister and I get along, or I don't need one because we would never fight over that. Families fight. And when money's involved, they're going to fight over it. It is what it is. I mean, you don't know how someone's going to react. When you see all that's laid out in front of you and who gets what and how that's not fair, whatnot. And so, just plan for that occasion. And it's not to get too off track on community property and whatnot, but if you have separate property and you don't have a will, it devolves differently. It doesn't go to your wife or your children automatically, or it doesn't go to your wife automatically. It goes to your children first, and then it goes to your siblings and your family, and then goes to your wife. And so if you I shouldn't say wife, and I shouldn't make those generalizations. If your spouse, significant other, purchased a home before you got married, that's their separate property. And if you move into that home and you make it your home and you live there for 20 years and your husband or wife does not have a will and they die, that house does not go to you. And that's a problem. And people say, well, my in-laws would never do that to me. You don't know.
You don't know. Because then you have you look at it as, well, their kids are going to get the money and not my kids. Or you have in-laws that are involved. You have jailhouse lawyers that are giving them advice of what they should or shouldn't get. It complicates so many things when you don't have a will. One of the questions that have been submitted to me.
Oh boy, okay.
What's it like dating a lawyer or being married to a lawyer when you were a lawyer?
Yes. Should I say contentious? I think that I am never wrong. Or I know I'm never wrong. Actually, I don't think I am never wrong. Yeah. So when you're paid to argue, it's hard to turn it off over small things. So I would say that, maybe if people were a lot more docile, but my boyfriend and I are not docile individuals.
What's ironic, my wife always criticizes me because although I am I make a lot of decisions at work and I'm very argumentative for my people, at home I am very laissez-faire.
Oh.
Because I'm tired of decision making.
Oh, no. See, I'm tenacious. I'm going to win. I'm going to beat you into submission, or that's it. It's like it's my way, and I'm not going to give up till it's my way, which is healthy. Don't take my advice.
my wife's like, what do you want to eat tonight? I'm like, I don't care. Just wherever. Hey, this guy gave us a bill for this. What do you think? That looks a little, whatever. You know, I'm tired of making decisions at the end of the day.
Oh, my gosh. I need to find that speed. I don't have it.
Have you ever won an argument and unironically said lawyered?
Oh, no, but I should.
Okay, so just me and my idiot friends got it.
Yeah, I mean, I might start doing that. I mean,
because you can actually back it up.
First of all, I've never lost an argument, so I guess let's know that.
What? I gotta ask this. I'm going to ask this to everyone. This is going to be my new thing.
Okay.
Favorite lawyer movie beside My Cousin Vinny?
Oh.
I just watched JFK for the first time.
Oh, you know what?
That's a good one.
Okay, I wouldn't say that's my favorite. Oh, is Aaron Brockovich cliche? Kind of, isn't it? What's the one with Matthew Broderick when he was... Oh, no. The one with the devil one.
Al Pacino?
Yes.
Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Would My Cousin Vinny have been your choice?
You know what? I'd never seen My Cousin Vinny until we had the trial ad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
I was thinking of Lincoln Lawyer, but take that off the list.
Lincoln Lawyer's good.
It's good, but I think I like...
That's like Matthew McConaughey's one of his best work.
What was the one with Tom Cruise? Was that The Firm?
The Firm, A Few Good Men.
Oh, A Few
There's some good
Men.
ones.
Okay. Yeah, those
are... The Verdict with Paul Newman from the 80s is really good as well. You should check that one out.
Okay, I've never heard of that one. But Paul Newman, that's not going to be bad to watch. Just his face alone.
He's a good-looking dude.
He's a beautiful man.
I don't think I've ever watched Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll put that on your list.
Put it on the list?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, Julia Roberts is spicy in that one.
Yeah. I was always a Julia Roberts fan, obviously, because we share her last name, but Pretty Woman did it for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Not a movie, but I really like the Hulu series, the People vs. OJ. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Was that pretty good?
Yeah.
Wait.
With like John Travolta was Shapiro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch that. Oh, what was the one with Dwight Yoakam? Was that on Hulu? He was the what one? Oh, Goliath.
Goliath, yeah. Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Dwight Yoakam's the
Oh, he is.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
Season 1 and season 2 were good. Then it got kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I give up on everything after
I was
the
like, okay,
second season.
no way this dude's gonna live in a Motel 6,
Yeah.
be a drunk, have no files, no paralegal, no staff, and then knock another $1 billion verdict. There's no way.
Yeah.
No way. Not possible.
Yeah.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
You're awesome. And where can we find out a little bit more about you, follow you?
So, yeah, you can check out my LinkedIn, Andrea Tettleton. My law firm is Seaball and Sepulvedo, seaballlaw.com. We're also on LinkedIn. We don't have a flashy Instagram like you do. Maybe that's my next.
No, but your
My
LinkedIn
next-
is fire.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're killing the LinkedIn game.
Okay, I anointed from the king. So
Thank you, Andrew.
thank you.
All right. Hey, it would mean the world to me if you subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. It helps keep the show free, and it helps us book better guests to provide more valuable content to you. None of the opinions expressed by my guests are that of my own, and nothing we talked about creates an attorney-client relationship or could be construed as legal advice. Hope you enjoy the show.